Bonjour, ça va? Hello, how are you? Today, we're going to make jambalaya. We're going to make a chicken, sausage, and smoked ham. You can also make seafood, but I'm going to show you that in a different show. Okay, now it's time to cut up our vegetables. We're going to change cutting boards. The wooden board is only for my vegetables. I use a separate plastic board for my meats. Now it's time to cut up the meat. You want to get a sausage, you want to get a good quality meat sausage. It doesn't have to be andouille, it can be just a regular smoked sausage, but make sure you have good quality meat. All right, now we're going to cut it up. I like to make it in bite-sized pieces. That way it's very easy to eat. People don't need a fork and a knife. They can just eat with just a fork. Cut it about this size. Like that. So now we're getting to the ham. I cut it about a 1/4 inch. You don't have to measure it. Cut it down like this. Again, I cut across. It doesn't have to be small, all right? You want a good bite-sized chunk. And I'm going to cut up about what I would call a cup full, maybe a little more. Right. Now we're going to cut the chicken. You want to get good quality. If you can get free range, this is free range, by the way, and you have a much better flavor. So I'm going to cut, this is a piece of chicken breast. Again, I'm going to cut it in little bite-sized chunks. You can do all breast. You can do all thighs and dark meat. I like to mix it up. I have a thighs and the breast. You can leave the bones in. The problem is if you leave the bones in, then everybody's got to be dealing with it, cutting around it or picking it up. And with jambalaya, it's not easy to pick up. So this makes it much easier for everybody to eat. All right. Now it's time to cook the jambalaya. You must do it in this order. You're going to brown the meat first. You're going to put it in the pot, no seasoning, just brown the meat. So we're going to start the fire on this. We're using this little flame here, makes it very easy. You'll be cooking it on the stove, and we're going to finish it up on our stove that you see behind me. So you put the fire on. The flame is going to be about a medium to medium high. As I said, you can use stainless steel, but again, no non-stick pot. No oil, just straight in. I like to use a wooden spoon. We pour first I did the chicken, now I did the sausage. There is no particular order. And the ham. Okay. One of the reasons why I like my wooden spoon, if I leave it in the pot, the spoon's not hot and it doesn't burn my hand. All right, and just stir it every now and then. Watch, if it's sticking too fast, your flame is too hot. Turn it down a little bit. All right. It's going to make its own grease from the meat you have in here. So you don't need to add. If you start adding it now, you may end up with a pot of grease. Okay, now it's browning a little bit. Look in the pot here. You can see it starting to brown at the bottom. That's what you want it to do. We're not ready yet. We want some more of that. But we're going to get it brown, and you'll see when it gets closer, all the meat starts to get a little brown on the end. It doesn't have to be perfectly cooked because it's going to cook more once we have all the garlic and onion and seasoning. But we got to get this brown stuff, which is why you don't want a non-stick pot. You're going to have a very pale jambalaya if you do. So we're just about there. Right now we're just going to take it out of the pot. It's still cooking. It's okay. But we need all the meat out. Okay, what we're going to do now is add some oil in here. We've taken all the meat out. You can see it's nice and brown in the bottom. There's little chunks of, let's say, burned or brown meat. We're going to add the garlic and the onions. Not the parsley yet. You're going to hold on that. Don't add the parsley now. You keep cooking this until it's wilted. All right, you can see it's starting to get brown. We're not there yet. We don't want to add anything else yet, except now we can put in the red and the black pepper. Again, I limited this to about a teaspoon each. There's sometimes I'll put a little more, but once you put the fire in, it's not coming out. So be careful. You can find your taste a little bit as you go and do this again and again. So you have to keep it stirring it to some degree. It doesn't have to be constant, but don't let it sit too long or your garlic will burn. All right, we're just about ready to add the meat and put it back in. You can see pretty much all the onions are nice and wilted and they're brown. Some of them are not, but enough of it away, because once you put it in, we're going to stir this on the bottom, get all that nice crusty stuff up, and it's going to help turn that rice nice and brown. So now here comes the meat. Okay. I'm going to kind of stir this around a bit, get it all mixed up with the rice and the onions and the bell pepper, all the seasonings. As I said, this is the order you must do this in. It's absolutely important. It was taught to me by a good friend who lives in Gonzales, Louisiana. This is kind of their method. Before, I would kind of have a hit and miss. Sometimes I made my jambalaya perfect. Sometimes it missed by a little bit. Always just right this time. So do it always in this order. Very important. I'm putting in 2 cups of rice. So I must put in 4 cups of water. Always twice the water per the rice. What I like to do at this time, I get a metal spoon, and I'm going to stir it on the bottom, because that's going to get that stuff, that nice brown stuff off the bottom, and mix it into the rice. Stir it up real good. So now we moved back to the big stove, because we need a little hotter fire. We have to make the water boil. Now, while the water's in here and it's not boiling yet, I'm going to put in the parsley. And we're just going to mix that all up, stir it around. It's just now starting to boil. We got a nice hot fire. You can see the gravy and the juice is all nice brown. That's what we want. That's why we cook the meat first. See the juice, the water, the gravy is starting to get a nice brown tint to it. That's what we want to make jambalaya, the brown rice. Okay. We're going to keep going. It's starting to boil. We're going to let it cook down. When the water is just about rice level, just a little bit below, we're going to turn it off and let it sit with the lid on. Okay, now we're ready to cover it up. If you look, you can see the water's just getting a little bit below the rice level, but still there. We don't want to cook it down completely. Cover it up, turn off the fire, and wait about 15, 20 minutes. Okay, chef, all done. Let's take a look at our jambalaya. Oh, nice and brown, just right. Allons manger.
All right.
Okay, we're all done now. Take a look right here. Jambalaya, fresh and hot and smoking and steaming. Now what it's time to do? Eat. Get a nice big spoon. Put it in your plate, your bowl. And take a nice big bite. Oh, ça c'est fichu ça. It's hot. But, oh, it's good. Allons manger. And we're going to see you the next time. We'll teach you something else about how to cook Cajun and learn about the Cajun people. La de la bon temps roulé.